Welcome to ArmA 3's Old Man campaign, where you are, as the title suggests, an old man named Santiago, of indeterminate age. Seriously, if we're calling the campaign Old Man, at least tell me how old this man is. Your objective? Single-handedly resolve a mass epidemic of super malaria by allying yourself with freedom fighters of questionable morality and committing large amounts of violence against legitimate military targets. When this expansion first released, it deservedly got a lot of flack for being a broken mess. Today, I can tell you that it is still broken.
Hey, you're not supposed to be here.
Dude, what the
This area is
fuck?
restricted.
But to a much lesser extent, you can actually play the thing to just about completion without issues. The campaign sees you start with nothing until you inevitably run over the first isolated CSAT patrol you see and steal their drip, anyway, working your way up the guerrilla ladder as you try to help civilians infected with super malaria and take down CSAT. You also work with Miller. He actually treats you with respect in this campaign, which is extremely bizarre and creeps me the fuck out. Seriously, he doesn't even keep you in the dark about his motivations. He wants to take down CSAT who have replaced NATO as the new military force on Tanoa after the events of Apex Protocol. Yes, this campaign is a sequel to Apex. No, I will not tell you what happens in Apex, because it sucks ass in single player, so I never finished it. Honestly, its events don't even matter, you don't need to know any of it for Old Man's campaign, though you will still need to own Apex in order to play it, as it takes place in Tanoa. Oh, and another pro tip if you ever decide to play this campaign yourself, don't pick the restricted saving option, you will come to regret it. Once you start, there is a long, railroaded section with some autosave issues, so you will want to have the manual save handy there as well. Otherwise, you might have to restart the campaign and waste 20 minutes of your life. That is not what This short introduction basically gets you up to speed on what exactly you're facing. CSAT are well equipped and have tight control of the island, with the guerrillas relegated mostly to the jungles, which on Tanoa are almost impassable. By the way, I hate Tanoa. You too will come to hate it if you play this campaign. It is inevitable after you get stuck on the 20 billion trees of this map. After the intro, you are more or less free to do things. Just know that you're gonna get a fuck ton of calls and a whole lot of missions to do all at once. The campaign plays out by giving you certain tasks to accomplish in order to further the story, of which a few are time-gated, but the structure is very flexible. You can, if you desire, fuck up on every quest and still complete the campaign. I do mean it. You can shoot Miller in the face as soon as you meet him in the forest and still complete the campaign. You have 3 sides that you do work for, besides a few miscellaneous tasks. Obviously, the first is Miller, as you are in contact with him from the get-go. A civilian doctor by the name of Drábek will also start to give you missions shortly afterwards, and he will, provided you didn't shoot him in the face, also put you in contact with Syndicate, who behave like bandits, as the name suggests. This is literally right next to their main camp, by the way, like 2 kilometers away from your house. Still, they are your main supplier and buyer of contraband, which is the main mechanic of this campaign. Kill people, steal their clothes, steal their weapons, and go sell them on the black market to buy better weapons and gear. Syndicate is also happy to purchase anything you want to sell, including the clothes of the civilians they just massacred, and will compensate you for less than market price. But they do control the black market, so giving them some equipment to satisfy them will give you better prices there. Unfortunately, this mechanic is quickly rendered mostly obsolete as long as you don't care about purchasing a 50 caliber sniper rifle by another mechanic, the geodetector. You unlock this early on after you have your first chat with Miller face to face, and it allows you to find free weapons out in the wild. They won't ask for them back, I promise. There's also a war going on in the background, but as far as I can tell, the front lines never change regardless of what you do. Syndicate forces can be leveled up by helping them win battles and selling them equipment, but this doesn't appear to have any actual effect on the story. Also, doing that takes forever, and all you get for doing it is the ability to use more of them as cannon fodder. Syndicate's most useful function is the fact that they will allow you to get loot easier, as they regularly engage CSAT patrols near the areas they control. All you have to do is drive up in an off-road and pack the drop weapons into a bag. This is completely fine and legal, as long as you don't equip the weapons. You can do this in the middle of a firefight. No one will mind. What people will mind though is tapping the gas while being stopped at a checkpoint. Yes, checkpoints. Old Man also has an entirely new checkpoint system. If you know this campaign for one thing, it's probably this. The first time you go through one of these in the intro, it's cool as shit. Every other time, it's just a waste of time. Most checkpoints can be avoided to begin with, and even if you can't avoid them, the drone only checks the vehicle inventory. Carrying a sniper rifle, a Titan anti-tank launcher, and 5 kilograms of explosive charges, no problem, buddy. Go on through. But wear an IDAP helmet outside and you are getting shot on the spot. The civilian military equipment distinction in this campaign can be weird. Civilian tracksuit, obviously military equipment. A flak vest, that's obviously civilian equipment. Good day to you, Mr. Policeman. You can also make use of this by putting a pistol into your backpack and then pulling it out while behind the enemy. Funnily enough, shooting someone in the back of the head with an unsuppressed firearm does not trigger an alert state. But running over someone with a 2-ton vehicle does. Speaking of this alert state, putting the enemies on alert will spawn reinforcements. These reinforcements will either spawn 300 meters away from you and start raining bullets on you out of nowhere, or they will get stuck on the road as soon as they spawn and not do anything useful. There is no in-between. Besides story objectives, enemy bases will generally hold intel. These can range from useful, like giving you optional missions with absolutely enormous rewards, to downright pointless, like telling you there's a checkpoint somewhere. You avoid checkpoints for a singular story mission and never need to do so ever again. Said mission sees you use a car bomb to demolish a police station, which is the average Syndicate job. Syndicate is also the only faction to offer a repeatable mission, which is to attack a random enemy base alongside their troops, unlocked after you do a story mission where you destroy a CSAT fuel depot alongside them, which serves as the tutorial for these repeatables.
C'est magnifique. CSAT no now. You're not some paysan hiding in the jungle now.
The civilian faction, represented by Dr. Drábek, has the smallest number of missions. He's only interested in keeping his patients safe and will send you to grab malaria medication as well as help them relocate to a safer location. The CTRG, represented by Miller, offers the most interesting tasks as they are the most involved, with the final objective to destroy the bioweapons lab. One mission sees you purchase, or steal, a scuba suit to rescue photos from a shot-down recon plane that sank in the sea. They also give you intel on defenses situated near the lab, such as autonomous turrets and anti-air assets. Pro tip, the hidden auxiliary radar is located in the base next to the main radar. Don't be stupid like I was. It's right there, on the map. In any case, everything leads towards the island of Tuanaka, an island completely cordoned off the civilians by CSAT. Personally, I had done all the other missions for the sake of the video, so I went ahead and bombed the place with a jet. Don't worry, you don't miss anything by doing this. I had a look inside. Regardless, once the bioweapons lab is destroyed, you get to choose your ending. I'm not going to spoil each ending here, but I am going to discuss them because this is where the just about completion I mentioned all the way back in the beginning of this video comes into play. So yes, if it isn't obvious yet, Old Man's endings are still bugged. There are 3 endings in Old Man, one for each faction. The CTRG ending, which sees you go along with Miller, is the easiest one and works without issues. However, both the civilian and syndicate endings, notably the syndicate ending, have an issue related to save stability. Because Old Man is a single scenario that can take multiple hours to finish, the game becomes less and less stable as you overwrite your older saves. As far as I can tell, these overwritten saves appear to have repeating information within them, which makes the game less and less stable over time. For Old Man's sandbox mechanics, this doesn't pose an issue, but it shows up its ugly head when you try to do the endings. For some reason, the trigger for Syndicate's ending can completely break, and then proceed to break the civilian endings trigger as well. which locks you out of at least one ending. I had this issue happen to me and I was unable to resolve it. While this is annoying, the endings themselves are nothing more than slideshows, and the rest of the scenario functions fine and is fun to play, so it's not a deal breaker personally. So, what do I think of Old Man? I think it's a very underrated campaign that more people should try out. However, it runs into the same issues that other dynamic campaign mods on Workshop run into, like Antistasi or Overthrow. Once you get past a certain point, doing more kinda becomes pointless. Leveling up Syndicate Rebels to level 2, which is their max level, takes forever and you'll probably finish the campaign before doing so. Looting in ArmA is also fairly tedious, and once you're fully geared, cash quickly becomes meaningless with no more reason to spend or acquire it afterwards. The real draw of Old Man is the story coupled with its novelty for an official ArmA campaign. The mechanics are cool, but they get repetitive after a few hours and you'll just want to finish the campaign after that. Still, for what it is, and considering that it comes free with Apex, I think Old Man is good. If you own Apex, give it a try. If you only have the ArmA-based game, I would recommend waiting for a sale to buy Apex. It's kind of one of the essential DLCs for the game, so if you have any intentions of playing the game beyond the Eastwind campaign, it's more or less a must-buy. I rate Old Man a 7 out of 10. Since you're still here at the end of the video, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next video, hopefully. Goodbye. Oh, are there multiple radios under the table? Oh,